Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. People in Zongmang, Luo Hao is my sister. Luo Chen was reincarnated into the world of anime and initially became the sworn brother of Lord Luo Hao, just when he thought he had only traveled to the world of god killers. But it was discovered that in this world, not only was there a beautiful president named Sulia. There are also familiar beautiful girls such as dragon maids, demons, true ancestors, and fairies. So the wonderful journey began. Luo Hao. From now on, you will be my younger brother. Sulia Kamani Antri. I am willing to be your knight and always guard by your side. Erica Browntry. Knight Erica Browntry swears that I will be loyal to you with my bravery and chivalry. Chiendo Isuzu. I am just your secretary, not your housemaid. Ji Dong Snow Vegetable. Senior Liz Jamonri. I am willing to become your queen. This is a demon chess piece that has been prepared long ago. Dragon Maid Thor. Dog Zujinsa Infinite Dragon God Orpheus. Don't go back to the gap between dimensions, do you take care of me? Great Red. Don't come over. On the sunny day of the month, at the foggy valley home, the colorless moon, the fox fairy, on campus day, the elf dance, the clever girl. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Lord Luo Hao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. From now on, you will be my younger brother. Hey. What is the situation? This was when Luo Chen woke up from a state of spinning around the world, feeling dizzy and hot, and had not yet waited for him to confirm his current state. The next second, a voice that appeared cold, majestic, and unquestionable sounded. Suddenly, this voice naturally interrupted his thoughts. What's going on? I remember staying up late to catch up, and then falling asleep in a daze. So where did the sound in my ear come from? Wait a moment, is it a thief? After all, his family has gone on vacation and only he is at home. As soon as he thought of this, Luo Chen didn't care if his current state was not right, and he struggled to open his eyes, feeling dizzy. The first thing that caught his eye was the scene of blue sky and white clouds, not the familiar ceiling. The clear sky stretches for thousands of miles, creating a fairyland-like beauty. Although the line of sight, or rather, the visual state is somewhat blurry. But the feeling of a splitting headache and a body melting like a blast furnace cannot be fake. It is precisely because of this state that he did not doubt whether he was dreaming or the authenticity of the scene in front of him. Are you outdoors? How could this be? Isn't he staying at home well? Wake up. Sob, the beautiful words that evoke the sound of the moon lute are uploaded from scratch. And it wasn't until now that Luo Chen realized he was lying horizontally and seemed to be hugged by someone. No, strictly speaking, he should be holding on to the other person. I didn't have time to feel the situation where I was on my knee pillow at this moment. Instead, I heard the cold and majestic voice, as well as the moans of lions and the roars of tigers. This beautiful voice has the power to rival that of the king of beasts. Luo Chen, who was originally shocked by seeing the blue sky and white clouds, and feeling confused about his current situation, couldn't help but retract his gaze from looking up at the sky. Through that perfect gathering of people, I saw a face as straight as jade. Her figure was like a mimosa, and her black hair was woven up to rival silk. She looked like a young girl around 17 or 8 years old, wearing a unique style of white hanfu from ancient China. She was unparalleled, charming, and beautiful. Role-playing. Or did you say you've traveled? No, the primary issue is to figure out what exactly happened. And who is she? Why are you with him? And still in the form of a knee pillow. By the way, what did she just say to make him her younger brother? In an instant, whether it was the unfamiliar environment or the interaction with the unfamiliar woman, Luo Chen felt confused. After all, he remembered falling asleep 1 second ago, but when he woke up the next second, he encountered this situation, which naturally caused a series of question marks in his heart. "Excuse me, sister." "Oh no, girl, are you?" "Wu, don't move." Moreover, Luo Chen found himself in a somewhat bad situation. "It feels like I've been hit by a falling high-rise building, my body hurts everywhere, and my pajamas have turned into fragments." Moving the perspective, although the body appears unscathed, it is also difficult to control. How to describe it? It's like overwork. But the primary problem now is not this, but being in such a state of being in front of the beautiful girl. Although the girl watched him with a light and indifferent demeanor from beginning to end. However, under such circumstances, Luo Chen can't help but blush. After all, it's really embarrassing. He wanted to do something, but now he finds it difficult to even flick his arm, so he feels a bit embarrassed. Fortunately, there was no phenomenon, otherwise he would only feel more embarrassed in his heart. Don't misunderstand, it's not that this beautiful girl lacks charm, it's just that his current state is not right. Therefore, he didn't know whether to be happy or sad about it in his heart. What if the other party misunderstands him? Luo Chen never expected that he would appear in front of a stranger in a state similar to that of a Terminator, which left him unsure of what to say for a moment. Combined with a series of doubts, his mind was in a state of chaos at this moment, and he could only say that he remained calm and focused on the beautiful girl holding him. Okay, to put it correctly, it should be supporting his body. Name. Hey. Name. Frowning slightly, Luo Chen, the Luo of the Sky and Earth Network, the Chen of the stars. Very good. What? The cold and dignified girl seemed to have not noticed Luo Chen's awkwardness. And for his current state, she didn't pay much attention to him, but instead spoke with a strong aura and a faint tone. Although she appears to be a young girl on the outside, she gives the impression of a queen who is towering. No, she should be like an empress or an empress. Not much to say, but there is no doubt about it, showing a cool and strong temperament. On the other hand, Luo Chen was somewhat puzzled after hearing the praise from the beautiful girl, not understanding why she said that. However, the next second, before he could even ask, this stunning young girl, upon seeing his condition slightly recover, without hesitation, reached out and picked him up from her waist. That's right, in the princess's embrace. Even Luo Chen didn't expect that besides when he was a child, he would also be treated like this one day. But before he could react, he saw the scene around him flicker, and then the beautiful girl hugged him and moved away from the previous position. Isn't it? Instantly moving. Space movement. Lightness skills. Such a magical scene, of course, made Luo Chen forget his doubts, leaving only shock and excitement. Is it true that I have traveled to the world of martial arts or immortality? At the same time, with the help of the beautiful girl's movements, he was able to move his head slightly, and only then did he realize that the two were at the edge of a huge pit. Or rather, it should be a crater in the deep mountains and old forests that seems to have been formed by a meteorite falling. So, was he lying at the bottom of the pit just now? Or did he make a guest appearance as a heavenly descent and then be picked up by someone? Cough cough miss, may I ask your name? Looking at the majestic and aloof ancient costume girl, Luo Chen had already begun to ponder the future of making wine and paper, raising pigs and poetry, marrying princesses, seizing power and proclaiming himself emperor, or becoming a free and unrestrained hero wandering the world, and so on. Luo Hao. Luo Hao. At first glance, this name doesn't seem like a woman's name, and it's also such a beautiful girl. Luo Zuelian, styled Hao, and also, you need to call sister. Luo Hao, Luo Zuelian. Nod your head. Wait, isn't this Lord Luo Hao? Godslayer. While answering Luo Chen's question, the woman named Luo Zuelian did not pay attention to Luo Chen's surprised and stunned expression upon hearing her name. But instead, standing by the edge of the crater, He glanced at the giant crater, then turned around and used his lightness skills to dodge, holding his figure and soaring into the air. The clothes fluttered like riding in the wind, like a fairy shuttling through the forest in the dust. In the end, on the mountain top, there was a picturesque and uninhabited place with only a relatively ancient thatched cottage. Chapter 2. Godslayer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Amidst the green mountains and forests, the environment is tranquil. The forest is lush with greenery, and the sunlight shines through the tree tops, casting mottled shadows. The mountains are lush and the sea of clouds is churning, creating a picturesque scenery. March is the season when peach blossoms are in full bloom, and a mountain located in the deep mountains and old forest showcases the scenery of a secluded paradise. Chatting, in the early morning, Luo Chen woke up feeling a bit cold while sleeping. In a daze, he first groped around for a while, but did not notice the figure of his previous meditation. He didn't persist either, but lay open in his resting place and then opened his eyes to look at the familiar beams of the house. It's been a year. That's right, he has traveled. And it has been a year since he came to this world, and Luo Chen has gradually become accustomed to the life here, as well as living with the leader's sister. The two of them did live together because they both lived and ate together. However, the elder sister of the sect leader has already reached the valley-breaking stage, so she does not need to eat. Even able to survive in harsh environments without air or water. It can be said that this is a person who does not indulge in worldly pleasures. Or it is more appropriate to describe him as a sword immortal or fairy. Flip over. Although there was no warmth left by my side, the familiar and rich breath lingered for a long time, as if surrounded by some kind of fragrance. However, don't misunderstand. Although Luo Chen shares a room with the leader's sister, he is only slightly stronger than a certain divine eagle hero at most. Although there were bedding and other items in the resting place, they were all his daily necessities, and the leader's sister continued to meditate and practice at night, but did not avoid him or distance herself. As for the rest, don't even think about it. Don't even look at the difference in combat effectiveness between the two sides, although Luo Chen has been practicing with the leader's sister for a year. But even if he is a once-in-a-century genius, even if he continues to cultivate for decades, he may not be a match for the leader's sister, just because she is Godslayer. Godslayer, as the name suggests, is the existence of a person who kills a deity and can devour its soul, gaining the power of the deity. No matter how talented they are, no matter how many years of cultivation they have, they are completely unbeatable, which is why they are called kings. A character who can handle things completely without relying on techniques or spells, or strategies and traps. The power of humanity is meaningless in front of gods, so what can become a god slayer is not innate talent, nor is it hard work, nor is it bloodline or fate, but rather, miracle or strong luck. Only humans who have surpassed the impossible and even killed gods, can become god-killers. After all, after gaining power, in a certain way, the existence of a god-slayer is almost like that of a god, and it is no longer beyond the power of mortals to deal with. And the elder sister of the sect leader is the god-slayer of this world's heavenly court, as well as the leader of the martial arts alliance, the leader of the 5 prisons holy cult, the martial arts king, and the most ferocious demon at the pinnacle of martial arts. And it's not just about strength, the cuteness of the leader's sister is also a beautiful girl that surpasses countless people. Although somewhat narcissistic, possessing absolute strength and beauty is an almost perfect existence. Facing such a leader's sister, it is false to say that Luo Chen is not interested, but so far it has only stopped at the knee pillow. There is no other way. The leader's sister cultivates herself, has a clear mind and few desires, and is strong and domineering. Naturally, she will not engage in any disrespectful behavior. But for his younger brother, she didn't just casually talk or neglect him, but really took care of him as a family member. This can be seen from living in the same room with him and sometimes giving him a knee pillow. You should know that when it comes to treating others, this leader's sister is more domineering and domineering. Those who look at her directly will dig out their own eyes, and those who hear her voice will cut off their own ears to make amends. Hurry up, otherwise my sister will be angry later. After lying in a daze for a while, I looked around the simple boudoir. Apart from the resting place, there are only antique dressing tables and wardrobes, and some furniture and daily necessities are also prepared for him. In the early morning of March, there was a slight chill, but when he thought about the angry situation of the sect leader's sister, Luo Chen, who had been relying on him for a while, was suddenly awakened. He then turned over and quickly changed his clothes. Well, my hair is a bit long. Without hesitation, he sat in front of the master's sister's dressing table and looked at himself in the bronze mirror. A head of thick black short hair, handsome eyebrows and eyes, with a jade-like appearance, clear and gentle. Raise your hand to your chin and give a slight smile, instantly presenting a graceful and carefree image. After traveling for a year, he did not awaken his golden fingers or cheeks, but instead had a good skin bag. Even without any attire, the elegant and beautiful young master's temperament and image cannot be hidden, and he is definitely a beautiful man who has captivated countless young girls. Another thing is that although he doesn't have any cheats, or rather, he doesn't know what his golden finger is at the moment, but his body has returned to the prime of youth. Simply put, it means going back to adolescence and looking around 16 years old on the outside. What does waking up handsome every day mean? That's it. After combing his hair through a copper mirror, Luo Chen picked up a wooden basin and went to the stream outside the backyard for a simple wash. There is no way, although the scenery in the deep mountains and forests is beautiful, there is no signal from the internet or mobile phones here. It should be said that there is no electricity, gas, or tap water there. Even oil lamps and candles were only available after he arrived. It was not until the end that Luo Chen arrived at the front hall. However, unlike the exceptionally quiet atmosphere, the atmosphere in the front hall appears somewhat solemn and quiet. It's not that there's no one, not only are there, but there are also two. Just one sat majestically on a chair, while the other knelt respectfully on the ground. Don't look at the figure kneeling on the ground with a hint of coldness in the morning, but their face is as white as paper and sweat is streaming down. The lowered eyes only show fear and respect. Sister. Nod your head. That face, although cold, was exquisite and extremely beautiful. No matter how many times he has seen it, when Luo Chen comes to the side of the leader's sister, he is often amazed by her appearance. She is capable of being described as a peerless beauty, with black hair that rivals silk, and dressed in a Han-style long dress with white patches adorned with flowers and plants. The hem and sleeves are both very long, with flowing thin gauze strips woven into fairy feathers, and flower headdresses and foldable fans on the ear side. When Luo Chen appeared, the originally solemn atmosphere seemed to have been relieved by him. Just without the leader's sister's words, the thin figure kneeling on the ground dared not move at all, but he breathed a slight sigh of relief in his heart. This is a teenager who looks 13 or 4 years old, with a straight face and wearing jeans in the same color scheme as a black shirt. Rather than being a teenager, it would be more appropriate to say that she is a lovely young lady. Lu Yinghua, the personal disciple of the sect leader's sister, has been gifted since childhood and possesses remarkable strength at a young age. But at this moment, he was heavily injured and knelt on the ground, while in front of him was a pile of shattered fragments. Chapter 3. The Sister of the High Cold Sect Leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the pile of fragments on the ground, Luo Chen couldn't tell what they were because they were completely crushed. However, from some mechanical structures, it seems to be some modern technological creation. You deserve it. Has this little ghost forgotten that the leader's sister is an extreme naturalist, which is why she is hiding in the deep mountains without electricity? I've been taught a lesson, but how dare this guy bring it? I don't know if it's a phone or a game console, but I got beaten up anyway. Delivery at this moment, while Luo Chen was sitting next to the leader's sister watching the excitement. A fair hand, holding a brightly colored, fragrant peach that was bigger than an adult's fist, handed it to him like this. Just the scattered fruity aroma is enough to make people salivate upon smelling it. As for why do peach blossoms have ripe peaches as soon as they bloom? This is not important. What's important is that Luo Chen's 3 daily meals over the past year have been like this. 1 tube is full and enough to ensure a day without hunger, even in difficult cultivation or exercise. It can be said that it is definitely a natural treasure. Even though it may not be as good as the mythological peaches, the effect of strengthening the body is definitely a rare treasure. However, although the fruit aroma is overflowing, the problem is that eating too much can also be tiring. Without rejecting the wishes of the sect leader's sister, Luo Chen took a sip after taking it. In an instant, not only was it sweet, but it also had a special fruity taste, making the taste more rich and refreshing. How to say it, the delicate flesh of the fruit, combined with rich fruit juice, etc. In an instant it immediately made him feel refreshed and full of energy, which was even more effective than any comprehensive tonic pill. And after eating quickly in 3 or 2 bites, the feeling of fullness and strength filling his whole body also made his spirit reach its peak. Are you full? Okay, let's go practice. Okay. After spending a year together, Luo Chen has become accustomed to the personality of the leader's sister. Apart from combat, she is not simply a person who does not indulge in worldly pleasures, and can be said to be very aloof. However, the coldness of the leader's sister is not the coldness of the iceberg beauty, but the coldness of the flower of the mountains. Except for him. For example, just now, she was preparing food for him and watching him finish it. I didn't even look at the kneeling disciple, but instead took out a handkerchief to wipe his cheeks, and then stood up and took a step. The next second, the beautiful figure flickered and disappeared from the front hall without a trace. Apart from leaving a unique fragrance, with Luo Chen's current vision, it is natural that he cannot see how his leader's sister left. Bang! Then, there was the sound of the object falling to the ground. It was Lu Yinghua, who was kneeling on the ground, who collapsed to the ground as if he had finally come to life after the leader's sister left. And besides that, he also seemed to remember breathing, opening his mouth and breathing heavily, with a very disheveled image and state. However, at this moment, Lu Yinghua couldn't control so much anymore. He felt as if he had walked through the gates of hell, with only joy and gratitude in his eyes. Fortunately, I escaped a disaster, and gratitude goes without saying, naturally because of Luo Chen's arrival. Because if it weren't for Luo Chen, he probably wouldn't have been beaten and punished to kneel today. He had to be knocked unconscious a few times. Thinking of this, Lu Yinghua suddenly felt a sense of rebirth after a disaster in his heart. As for what? Also, Lao Lu, are you okay? Hoo. No, it's okay, thank you, junior uncle. Shushu is just shushu, why add the word small? What do you think? Okay, I just called you Lao Lu. If you're being careful, no girl likes it. It's better not to like it, women only know. What do you only know? Stare. The elder sister of the sect leader was not around, and Lu Yinghua, who had just shown great respect and honesty, struggled to get up while still arguing with Luo Chen after a moment of relaxation and recovery. When the conversation between the two started about women, the disgust in this guy's eyes made Luo Chen involuntarily shake his head slightly. This little ghost seems to be useless. Although she has a cute appearance that is very popular among girls, she was beaten by the leader's sister since childhood. Oh no, it should have been cultivated diligently, which has led to a dark belly and a strong aversion to women, a very paranoid and twisted personality. The more beautiful and capable a woman is, the more hostile she becomes. For example, now, with a face as white as paper and sweating profusely, and stumbling and staring, it is obvious that it was beaten by the leader's sister just now. However, even so, after the leader's sister left, this guy immediately looked happy, as if he was happy that he had not received any other punishment. Poor child, being beaten to a serious injury but still happy and grateful. Sometimes, Luo Chen really doubts whether the disciple of the sect leader's sister has a hidden personality. And judging from his appearance, it seems that this is already a common occurrence, otherwise there would be no mood to argue and complain with him. Think about it, in the year after his travels, Lu Yinghua has been either beaten every day or on the way to being beaten. It is precisely because of this that at a young age, she possesses a strong body of strength, which is the effect of strict teachers leading to high apprentices. Although this has caused her to suffer from misogyny. Let's go. Seeing that Lu Yinghua was fine, Luo Chen picked up a peach from the table and threw it to him. This peach not only fills the whole day, but also has therapeutic and restorative effects, combined with the strength of Lu Yinghua himself. Therefore, he was seriously injured in the previous second, and quickly recovered after blinking his eyes. Because of this, the training method of the leader's sister is to practice to the death as long as she can't die. Luo Chen has only been here for a year, and can experience the hardships and bitterness of Lu Yinghua, as well as the terror of the sect leader's sister. If it weren't for the gentle and considerate side of the leader's sister towards him, perhaps over time, he would eventually become like Lu Yinghua. Without it, I was scared by the leader's sister. By the way, Lao Lu, how's the matter you were asked to investigate? Cha. Oh, you're referring to that neon person. I've already asked the family to investigate, there's nothing special about it. It's just that Neon is just an ordinary junior high school student, an ordinary person, nothing special. But his grandfather is not simple. So, what time is he in his junior year now? Junior high school students, no, they'll be high school students when the new semester starts. Really? Why is there such a big reaction? It's just an ordinary person. Do you have any issues with him? It's nothing. I remember Neon was on a 3-semester system, so he should be on spring break now. What? Ignoring Lu Yinghua's doubts, Luo Chen felt a sense of urgency due to the intelligence. No, it absolutely cannot develop like the original plot. Chapter 4. 8 Wildernesses and 6 Harmonies, only I respect the merit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Lu Yinghua was eating peaches while looking at Luo Chen, who was lost in thought. He didn't understand either. He was just answering the investigation results, and his young martial uncle's expression became more complicated. Isn't it just an ordinary neon person? If he wants to, he doesn't need to do it himself. With just one sentence, there will be people to deal with that neon man. If junior uncle speaks up, he doesn't mind taking action. Even though the grandfather of that neon figure knows many powerful beings, he is always a scumbag in front of his master. Believe it or not, he said he wanted to kill that pair of grandsons. Even if Neon knew, she wouldn't dare to fart. Even in order to please his master, they are afraid that they will take action to solve it themselves. After all, his master's notorious figure is well known and definitely an extremely terrifying and uncontrollable existence. This is the reputation of a Godslayer. Don't even say a word to cut off the life and death of a person, it's easy to even say a word to cut off the life and death of a country. How dare a small island like Neon provoke the anger of a Godslayer? Junior uncle. It's okay, let's meditate and practice first. Good, I wanted to ask and help, but when I saw that Luo Chen didn't mean to continue, Lu Yinghua didn't care or insist. Instead, they came together to sit outside the thatched cottage facing east and regulate their breath. In the morning, peach blossoms spread brightly on the branches, and a gust of wind caused petals to fall one after another, like fluttering butterflies or snowflakes. A soft golden light rose from the sky, like endless hope, gradually dispelling the cold of the earth. At the moment of sunrise, all sounds are silent, covered in colorful hues, as brilliant as a beautiful flower. In an instant, thousands of golden lights shone through the treetops, and the sky shimmered with the morning glow. Inhale, exhale, 2 teenagers were meditating in the morning sun, their bodies seemingly shrouded in light as they breathed. Then I saw Luo Chen sitting cross-legged, his arms slowly opening their ears. Finally, his right index finger pointed to the sky and his left index finger pointed to the ground. As he breathed, a faint white breath wrapped around his head, lingering and lingering. The white air gradually became thicker and thicker, becoming a white mist that covered his face and even began to spread throughout his body. Click. Pop. Following, in the music, only the rhythmic sound of the joints was heard, like bursting beans. What? This magical scene immediately woke up Lu Yinghua, who was sitting beside him, and he stared at Luo Chen, who was surrounded by clouds and mist. Without it, because he knows what it represents. Little martial uncle, he has mastered the 8 wilderness and 6 harmonies, only one self-respecting skill. This is impossible and not scientific. You should know that he has been practicing with his master since childhood, but after so many years, he has not even started this martial arts. But Luo Chen was lucky, it only took him a year. Not only did he get started, but he also mastered it. How could this not make him dumbfounded? Watching the clouds and mist diffuse, he finally had to stay away, even the peach grove was surrounded by mist. While protecting the Dharma, Lu Yinghua also stared blankly at the hazy figure in the clouds. All he had left at the moment was shock and disbelief. Shua. At this moment, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared, which interrupted Lu Yinghua's thoughts. Master. Well, you'll double your cultivation in the future. Yes. Needless to say, it was Luo Hao who came. She first looked at the mist with joy and excitement, then lightly glanced at the apprentice who was bowing, and then left a sentence that made Lu Yinghua's mood even more depressed. Her figure disappeared with the mist. Call out. Leaving aside the mournful Lu Yinghua, the camera returns to Luo Chen's side. After a long sigh of relief, the originally urgent mood was also a bit happy because of practicing the 8 wildernesses and 6 harmonies only respecting me skill. That's right, it's precisely in a certain martial arts novel that the famous 8 wildernesses and 6 harmonies stand alone in their achievements. Also known as Tian Shan Tong Lao Gong, but with the addition of a Luo Hao version label. I don't know if there is a certain martial arts world in the ancient world of the God Killer, or if the leader sister has been to the world of the 8 heavenly dragons. In short, this is one of the many martial arts she knows. But compared to the original martial arts works, although this internal skill is incredibly powerful and skillful. But it has a downside, which is that every 30 years, practitioners have to return to their youth. And after returning to the child, the martial arts will return to their original form. If you want to restore your skills, you need to practice daily, and each day is 1 year. However, the elder sister of the sect leader has become able to quickly cultivate qi, curse power, that is comparable to 2 months of cultivation in a short period of time, at the cost of becoming young for a period of time. Perhaps it has been improved or revised by the elder sister of the sect leader. It's not important, what's important is that in just 1 year, Luo Chen has trained it. You should know that in order to practice this martial art, one must base it on the highest level of internal skills. Haven't you seen that Lu Yinghua has been practicing for many years and hasn't started yet? Without it, its internal strength was insufficient, but Luo Chen broke this attempt, leaving him stunned and dumbfounded on the spot. Luo Chen was not surprised by this. Firstly, his hard work over the past year, as well as the careful guidance of the leader's sister. Secondly, as a traveler, he naturally stands out from the crowd. Chapter 5. The Great Disc in the Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's actually nothing, it's just that Luo Chen has been suspecting whether his travels are accompanied by Grandpa with me, or something like that. Otherwise, why did the qi he had just cultivated in the past year disappear inexplicably like that of a well-known divorced male lead, Xiao? No, it shouldn't be said to disappear, but rather to be absorbed by something. Then give feedback to himself. If it weren't for the repeated confirmation from the sect leader's sister that he didn't have any strange jewelry on him, or if he had been entangled by any soul body or other things. He really doubted whether his golden finger was a carry-on grandpa or something, but unfortunately not. Another thing is that although Luo Chen is practicing the 8 wildernesses and 6 harmonies soul sovereign skill, he feels like he is practicing the Beiming divine skill no matter how he looks at it. Without it, it means that when practicing with the leader sister, he will unconsciously and passively absorb some of her curse power, qi. Although the quantity is not large each time, it cannot withstand many times. Because of this, over time, his curse power, qi, became increasingly terrifying, surpassing the martial artist Lu Yinghua who had been practicing for many years in just 1 year. For this issue, the elder sister of the sect has also curiously studied and even attempted a similar method of topping to enhance his curse power, qi. But unfortunately, what his body absorbs is only a small part. Finally, the elder sister of the sect leader speculated that he may have a constitution similar to that of usurping the curse power, qi, of others, but it is strange that this phenomenon has no effect on Lu Yinghua. After multiple unsuccessful attempts, the elder sister of the sect could only temporarily give up, but she still gave him some spell power, qi, every day until the amount absorbed was full. This is precisely the reason why he was able to successfully practice the 8 wilderness and 6 harmonies only self-respecting skill in just 1 year. After all, the curse power, qi, does not disappear out of thin air, but accumulates gradually within his body and becomes his own curse power, qi, after refinement or melting. The curse power, qi, of the sect leader's sister is so terrifying, even if Luo Chen only absorbs a small amount, but with the accumulation and transformation of small amounts, he also possesses a terrifying and pure curse power, qi. And this is only a small part, most of the curse power, qi, absorbed over the past year is accumulated in his body. Once it erupts, even Luo Chen doesn't know what terrifying and powerful power it can temporarily unleash. After all, what he's hoarding is the terrifying curse power of a Godslayer. Bang! Amidst the clouds and mist, Luo Chen only felt his consciousness rise, as if he had broken through something. The curse power within the body that one can control erupted, directly forming a shockwave in the peach forest. Then, in the next second, the sound of the body exploding beans gradually became lighter and thinner, and the surrounding white mist also gradually faded. Then, as he breathed, he began to inhale the white mist back and forth until all the white mist was completely absorbed. However, Luo Chen's consciousness did not awaken, but instead sank into a deeper sea of consciousness, feeling as if he had come into a vast white space. Before he could see the surrounding scene clearly, he could only vaguely see a foreign object floating quietly in his consciousness. Is that a large disc like a shield, or is it a ring? In short, only blurry shadows can be seen, vaguely resembling a heavy steel disc with a totem resembling a dragon head engraved on its surface, and 8 swords engraved in 8 directions. Buzz, just when Luo Chen wanted to try to get close, or was planning to do some research. The big disc trembled slightly, and his consciousness seemed to be dragged away, leaving the sea of consciousness and returning to reality. After a long period of emotional turmoil, is there really something in his soul consciousness see? A foreign object that doesn't know if it's a shield or a ring. I just don't know what that is, and I don't know if it's good or bad for him. Returning to reality, Luo Chen frowned slightly as he opened his eyes. After all, there was such a thing in his soul that no matter who it was, he would care. Moreover, it is unclear whether it was obtained before or after crossing the river. With doubts in mind, Luo Chen wanted to settle down again and try to touch the big disc, but found himself unable to shake it at all. It was only after establishing contact that it was discovered that he was hoarding or usurping the power of the sect leader's sister's curse, and it was likely that this was his cheating big disc. Because he could feel the familiar and terrifying power of the leader's sister from it. Once it erupts, it is enough to destroy the sky and earth. But those are all the curse powers of the sect leader's sister. He needs to transform them before they can become his own power, which is also why Luo Chen misunderstood that he may have practiced the Beiming divine skill. So, his cheat is something that can passively transform the curse power of others. How could it be? It shouldn't be that simple, right? After all, such a large disc, and it is also very mysterious and complex, it is impossible to have such a chicken rib-like ability. After all, this is the world of god killers. If it were the world of martial arts, then this ability alone would be enough to defy the heavens. But in this world, if we only absorb and transform the curse power of others, it will be greatly weakened. And why is it only useful for the leader's sister and ineffective for Lu Yinghua? Lao Lu. Chapter 6. External plugs received. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lao Lu. After cheating on the account and pondering for a while, Luo Chen couldn't come up with a reason. After several unsuccessful attempts, he, who was temporarily at a loss, turned his head and looked at his target to the side. At this moment, he was looking at his taiji with a monster-like gaze. Lao Lu. Ah. Junior martial uncle, what do you call me for? Come over here. What? Ignoring the cute Jing Tai with question marks on his face, Luo Chen let him approach again and raised his hand to his shoulder. Then the next second, he tried to contact the big disc and activate it. Junior uncle, what are you doing? Let's talk about it first. Although I don't like women, it doesn't mean I will like men. Shut up. Oh. Lu Yinghua roasted about Luo Chen's behavior and stood up obediently. On Luo Chen's side, after activating the large disc, he only noticed a flash of light, and then he sucked in some of the curse power, qi, that Lu Yinghua had transformed without his control. It's done. Is this the star-absorbing soul-seizing palm? Regarding this, Lu Yinghua did not panic, but instead looked surprised. Because of this situation, in his view, it is the ability of the star-absorbing soul-seizing palm martial arts that can extract qi from objects touched by the palm. Among Luo Hao's numerous martial arts, there is the martial arts of this evil sect. He had personally experienced it, but due to his lack of cultivation and young age, Luo Hao did not hand it over to him. However, Lu Yinghua still knew the power of this martial arts. He didn't expect that Luo Chen not only became the only one in the 8 wilderness and 6 harmonies, but also could absorb stars and seize souls with his palm. What kind of demon is this? You should know that he hasn't even started with the former, and the latter doesn't even have the qualification to cultivate. As a result, Luo Chen was so lucky that he even learned both. Unfair, is it too unfair for heaven? Lu Ying was shocked, and those who stood foolishly on the spot did not react, allowing Luo Chen to suck away his curse power. On the contrary, on Luo Chen's side, when he was usurping some of the spell power of Lu Yinghua and trying to hoard it in the Dao Big Disc. The next second, Lu Yinghua's curse power was despised. Or it can be said that if the curse power of Lu Yinghua is accumulated, the curse power accumulated in the large disc will become mixed. After all, only the terrifying curse power accumulated by the leader's sister will be mixed. Although singular, it is very pure. But once the spell power of Lu Yinghua is mixed in, it becomes like a mouse poop spoiling a pot of soup, becoming mixed up. Unless he transforms all the accumulated curse power within the large disc into himself or dispels it, he can only accumulate the curse power of others. It's not that we can't force hoarding, but that would only result in twice the effort and not please. Just like adding sand to rice, it can be cooked and eaten, but it's a bit rough. It seems that the great disc despises the curse power of Lu Yinghua for being too poor. Would Junior uncle? Just when Luo Chen discovered this and wanted to continue trying to see if there were any other abilities or effects. I saw Lu Yinghua, who had originally regained his spirit, once again shivering in a cold sweat, looking like a haggard figure who had been staying up all night for several days. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Upon seeing this, Luo Chen quickly raised his hand in response. Otherwise, if we continue, this Sheng Tai in front of us may become a useless person. So, what kind of 8 wilderness and 6 harmonies only self-respecting skill is it to practice? Isn't it more suitable for practicing Biming divine skill? Haha, after regaining his freedom, Lu Yinghua gave Luo Chen a resentful glance. Master is like this, and the little master in front of me is also like this. It seems very dangerous to be by their side, and I don't know which day I will die. So when he saw that Luo Chen was okay, he let go of his doubts and now he just wanted to stay away from the two of them, so as not to risk his own life. On Luo Chen's side, when he saw Lu Yinghua walking to the other side to continue meditating and practicing, he did not continue to make things difficult for this unlucky child. He temporarily came to an end to his research on the big disc and slapped the cursed power he had absorbed towards the distant mountain valley with his backhand. Bang! In the midst of a strong impact, a huge palm wind struck the boulders in Zhongshan Depression, causing a loud roar. The power is greater than his usual palm, after all, it is half of the curse power of Lu Yinghua. Seeing this scene, Luo Chen's eyes couldn't help but brighten. Although it cannot be used for hoarding or conversion, it seems to be a good attack method to usurp the curse power of others and attack themselves. Well, there's a feeling of giving back to others with the same way. Lao Lu, you can go over there and see if you can pick up any leaks or something. Ha! Then I can add you to the meal, right? You child, what's the big truth? Also, you plucked the hair, peeled the skin, and grilled the meat. I just happened to pass by, so I'm afraid you won't be able to finish it all by yourself, so can I help you share the burden? I have never seen such a shameless person before. If possible, Lu Yinghua really wants to make such a roast. How could a senior official crush someone, and the same goes for seniority. He is the one who does all the crying and tiring work, and even the one who carries the blame in the end. Sure enough, not only beautiful women are dangerous, but also handsome men. I feel like if this continues, not only will he suffer from misogyny, but he may soon develop misogyny. Chapter 7. The Gentleness of the Patriarch Sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was night, and the deep mountains and old forests were unusually quiet. Moreover, it was cloudy, so it was pitch black under the night sky. Only the thatched cottage hidden on the mountaintop still flickered with a faint light. Scream, scream, this is a pond located behind a thatched cottage, formed by the convergence of streams. Under the night, apart from some insect chirping, only the sound of the stream and a faint figure could be seen in the pool. Although I came to the pool to take a shower at night, and it was still a bit cold in March. But for the current Luo Chen, the foundation is naturally that the cold and heat do not invade anything. The surrounding environment is pitch black, so the atmosphere inevitably decreases a bit, and a person also appears a bit lonely. However, with great success in his divine skills, his strength has also greatly enhanced. Although not as exaggerated as night vision, the pitch-black environment has no significant impact. If it were the leader's sister, the night would still be as bright as day for her, and it would not affect her at all. After a day of cultivation, Luo Chen also seemed a bit tired. However, taking a bath every night is also one of the rare ways for him to relieve fatigue and stress. Despite soaking in a cold pool, he is still free from wind and snow. Unfortunately, the expected welfare scenario has never happened. Think about it, with the strength of the leader sister, how could there be any door-opening killings or certain welfare activities? So the experiences of Dong Yong, Li Xiaoyao, and Niulang are all fake. Okay, this is just his wild thoughts when he calmed down and took a bath. If he really wants to peek, the leader sister probably won't get angry or mind either. Scream, the mountains and forests in the night are quiet and deep, with hazy mountain shadows in the distance. Luo Chen didn't stay much in the pool either. After feeling almost there, he slowly got up and picked up his washed clothes before leaving the pool. He then used his curse power to dry them. That's right, the curse power is so convenient and versatile, whether it's for cooking or washing clothes. After returning, just let it dry a little more, which can save time and effort. Click. Holding the freshly dried clothes, Luo Chen quickly returned to the simple thatched cottage, which was also the only place with bright light under the night sky. The thatched cottage is not big or small, except for the front hall. It is the master's sister's boudoir, but it has also become Luo Chen's room since a year ago. By the way, Lu Yinghua did not live on the mountain, but lived alone at the foot of the mountain during his cultivation period. After all, this young master is very kind to his master, but he is so afraid that he almost feels scared. If it's not necessary, he definitely doesn't want to see the leader's sister. Because every time he sees the leader's sister, it's like passing through a dead gate for him. Open your eyes in the simple room. Qianying was graceful, dressed in a cool and loose outfit. When she saw Luo Chen return to the room, she slowly opened Qianli's eyes. Under the slightly dim candlelight, it was like two deep peri gemstones. Although it is just a plain gaze, invisibly it can cause immense pressure. If someone is timid or fragile, relying solely on this gaze is definitely causing fear and timidity in their heart. However, after living together for a year, Luo Chen had become accustomed to the presence of the elder sister of the sect leader. Therefore, after calling out for her, he took his clothes to dry on his own. Although he could feel the gaze of the elder sister of the sect leader, he always focused on himself. Sister. Come here. Is there anything else? The leader's sister's unusual behavior made Luo Chen somewhat concerned and puzzled. So after she spoke, she didn't hesitate to come to the resting place and sit down, then admire the flickering candlelight, as if a fairy had descended from the mortal realm within reach. And Luo Hao didn't continue to speak, but instead raised his hand and gestured to Pat. Luo Chen naturally understood and skillfully lay down, in the way of the head sister's knee pillow. Touch your head, neither of them spoke, one comfortably resting on the absolute realm, while the other silently used their hands to comb his hair. Just like a year ago when Luo Chen first crossed over, the scene of the two in the crater was the same. Or rather, closer. After all, Luo Chen was not restrained or reserved about this, but he raised his hand and wrapped it around the pillow, and Luo Hao just looked at him calmly according to his actions. Are you leaving? Have to go. Well, I have to go. Then go ahead. Sister, why don't you ask me what I'm doing? No need, remember to come back soon. Okay. Luo Chen did not feel any surprise when the elder sister of the sect guessed her own worries. After all, for the leader sister, she doesn't lack the ability of mind reading, but she won't use it on him. It's his anomaly today. I'm afraid the leader's sister has already noticed it. In addition, he asked Lu Yinghua to help investigate a certain guy, but he didn't avoid the leader's sister, so he doesn't know how much she knows about this world. And for his identity as a traveler, the elder sister of the sect knew it from the beginning and did not feel any surprise. Because of herself, she has the ability to travel through different worlds. It's late, let's take a break first. Sister. What's going on? This, that, sister, can I rest with you today? Sure. Looking at the silent leader sister, Luo Chen had already begun to want to give up in his heart. But upon hearing her answer, her eyes lit up and she eagerly hugged her and lay down. And regarding this, Luo Hao didn't mind either. Instead, after a rustling sound, he placed some clothes next to the pillow and then grabbed them with his backhand jade arm. Chapter 8. The Fairy Sister of the Sect Leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, the red sun rose. The trees outside the thatched cottage are lush, and the green leaves on the treetops are illuminated by the morning light, creating a brilliant scene. Morning birds chirp on the branches. Chatting, Sometimes having too strong hearing is not good, for example, on this side, waking up early in the morning. Just last night, it can be said that it was the most peaceful night that Luo Chen rested after his arrival. Of course, it was also the most comfortable and relaxing night. So even though he was awakened, he didn't have much anger. On the contrary, after opening his eyes, he looked at the distance in front of him, which could be said to be as beautiful as a fairy, with a fair face and a faint blush on his cheeks, like a peach blossom with red and white hues. The boudoir is filled with a delicate fragrance like flowers, making the beauty appear as pure and elegant as a fairy who has emerged from the mortal world. Looking at it, Luo Chen couldn't help but feel a bit confused. Then, by a stroke of luck, I didn't know where the courage came from in my heart. After staring at the beautiful face of the sect leader's sister for a moment, I couldn't help but approach her and kiss her forehead. The leader's sister in a resting state, although still exuding a majestic and domineering aura. But it adds a touch of innocence and cuteness, as well as a touch of innocence and innocence, looking like a beautiful girl, making people unable to resist the desire to care for and love. After Luo Chen realized his small actions at this moment, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous in his heart, afraid of waking up the leader's sister or making her angry. Fortunately, his worries were somewhat unnecessary. As he carefully retracted his head, he found that the leader's sister was still breathing steadily. Bang 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 bang, even the heart rhythm has not changed at all. On the contrary, it was himself, because of his recent actions, his heart rhythm couldn't help but beat faster, and he felt inexplicably nervous. Also, even being moved by the enchanting leader's sister, she silently tightened her hand as she held her. Still awake. How about? Seeing that the elder sister of the sect leader had not yet woken up, Luo Chen felt a little more delighted in his heart, and then his gaze shifted from his fair forehead. Long eyelashes, perfect face, cute upturned nose, and finally, as if summoned and attracted, Luo Chenji felt his perspective getting closer and closer, so close that he didn't even know when to hold his breath, and his eyes were only filled with the beautiful appearance of the leader's sister. It's getting closer, it's getting closer. Lower your head, close your eyes. Unfortunately, the next second, I don't know if it's because of his actions, or if it's natural. Her originally quiet face wrinkled, and as her long eyelashes swayed, the pair of Qianli's eyes slowly parted. At this moment, Luo Chen dared not make any small moves. He just closed his eyes and lowered his head in a thrilling way, but the next second he realized his actions, which seemed even bolder. It's nothing, it's just that he was blinded directly. Is this the gathering of hearts of the leader's sister? Bang 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 bang. Inexplicably, Luo Chen felt a little nervous and excited in his heart, while also worried that his actions would make the leader's sister mind or angry. However, he thought too much, and from beginning to end, Luo Hao's eyes were very calm, even if it was because he was being attacked, and even his previous actions were the same. After breaking free, those majestic eyes only looked calmly at the back of his head. On the other hand, her fair cheeks, I don't know if it was a hallucination that flashed a few strands of redness, but soon regained the aura and image of Koi Wubwa. And for Luo Chen's more intimate actions, Luo Hao did not push him away. Instead, he continued to block him with one hand and lifted the other hand above his head. Touch your head, how long has it been? She couldn't remember how long she had rested like this, as for Luo Chen's feelings towards her. This is of course clear to Luo Hao in his heart. However, she has not experienced any romantic love, so she is not very familiar with this aspect. But she still likes Luo Chen in her heart, but she doesn't understand her own feelings, so she chooses to let nature take its course. If Luo Chen really wants to, then the two of them will live in seclusion here, and Luo Hao will not resist it in her heart. She has gradually become accustomed to the days with Luo Chen by her side. Unfortunately, he has to leave temporarily. Brother. It's already morning, get up now, and go and get back quickly. Rub your face at this moment, Luo Chen, who was immersed in the heart of Zhu Ren, naturally couldn't bear to leave. The elder sister of the sect leader spoke up, so he had to stick and then let go. Looking at the still calm elder sister of the sect leader, he couldn't help but feel happy for it. What he is most worried about is his actions, and the leader's sister may mind or get angry. Now it seems that his actions are all within her acquiescence. This discovery excited Luo Chen greatly. If it weren't for certain things, he would have had to go, otherwise he really wanted to be with the leader's sister forever. But as soon as he thought about the original plot of the God Killer, a sense of urgency in his heart made it impossible for him to continue indulging in the gentle countryside. After quickly washing up and simply tidying up, he firmly chose to leave. Just before leaving, looking at the leader's sister who bid farewell to me. With renewed courage, he directly embraced the elder sister of the sect who was bathed in the morning sun. "Sister, you are mine." Then, leaving such a sentence in the ear of the leader's sister, she resolutely turned around and descended the mountain, leaving only the beautiful and somewhat stunned Luo Hao standing outside the thatched cottage, watching his departing figure. Chapter 9. Grass Shaving Hall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. March, Spring Break. This is the holiday that countless neon students are looking forward to. Some people go out to play, some participate in club activities, some go to work, fall in love, attend tutoring, or play games at home, becoming squatters at home to spend the entire holiday. But for the current grass shaving hall, holidays and troubles have the same meaning. Because at this moment, he is not in the neon, but has come to the unfamiliar place of Yadali. It is incredible that the colors of the sky seen in different countries can also vary slightly. The sky gazing up from the airport window at the grass shaving hall is not the ambiguous and deep blue sky unique to neon, but the sky below the Latin Kingdom is like a sky breaking through the sky, and surprisingly blue. Turning your gaze to the front, what you see is a diverse group of people of different nationalities and ethnicities. This is an airport located at the southern end of Italy, a vacation island floating on the Mediterranean Sea. As it is not a study trip, he is probably the only neon student here at this moment, the grass shaving hall. Amidst the busy crowds shuttling back and forth at the terminal, the guard room gazed into the distance while complaining in its heart. After 12 hours of turbulence on the plane, he finally arrived in this country. Due to the fatigue of sitting on the plane for a long time and the impact of the time difference, he was completely exhausted. This is Sardinia Island, with an area similar to that of Shikoku. In terms of population, there are about 15 million people, and most of them are concentrated in the cities on the island. Surrounded by clear seawater on all sides, the surrounding natural environment is also very beautiful. The largest industry on the island is tourism, and every summer, tourists from all over the world flock to Europe for vacation. Especially located in the northeast of the island, the beautiful coastline, like an emerald, is famous as a vacation destination exclusively for upper-class aristocrats. Just this time, he wasn't here for tourism, but for something to come to this unfamiliar place. During rare holidays. Today, let's take a stroll around this small town first, and tomorrow we'll take the train to the town where Miss Lucurezia is located. The grass shaving hall is currently located on the street outside the airport, considering whether to go to the reserved hotel first. Because I need to help my grandfather and return something to a former friend. So he had to come to Sardinia Island in Italy. Originally, during the spring break of the third year of junior high school, he still wanted to work. But because of consideration, we cannot just let our grandfather violate the agreement we made with our grandmother. So he made up his mind to deliver it himself, even though he didn't understand Italian or even other foreign languages. However, he also had several experiences of being taken overseas by his grandfather, mostly to some Southeast Asian countries. And it also happened that I got separated from my grandfather on the way and met him again. Every time I encounter such a situation, I will spend more than half a day in a state of language barrier and lack of money, and in severe cases, I may even have to wait for several days. Having experienced this experience countless times, he surprisingly got used to it. Language barrier relies on body language, which unexpectedly enables communication. Even if complex meanings cannot be expressed, relying on a delicate appearance and smile can still bring one closer to others. Even if encountering foreigners conversing in English on the road, others will probably freeze, and in such cases, he will use the English he knows appropriately to make some fragmented conversations hold. Hehe, you're going to replace me in the protective hull. Can I really trust you? That's right, the man said it's time for spring break. Anyway, I'm too busy to panic. Then, after making such a declaration, grass-shaved Hutong came alone to a foreign country, a very unfamiliar place for him. At this moment, he was standing in front of the airport, browsing the map and tour guide manual of Sardinia online, and formulating the next plan. The town where my grandfather's friend lives is located in the middle of the island. Today, he plans to take a break here to help his tired body recover from the time difference and flying. The grass-shaved protective hull made this decision and looked around. It was now after 1 p.m., and the Mediterranean sun shone brightly. The blue sky was cloudless, and this endless scenery was definitely not visible in the 11th district. It would be a pity not to take the opportunity to enjoy the scenery. Excited as if seeing dawn approaching, he decided to take a stroll and ask for directions. If you want to rest, you can also do it at night. After all, we have all come specifically to this place. Why not take a look everywhere? Carrying his luggage, Kuzeo Hutong decided to leave the airport and then wander around the town for sightseeing. Wow! So handsome, should we go over and chat up? What kind of celebrity is such a handsome Easterner? But just then, a commotion broke out among the pedestrians at the airport. Even the grass-shaving hull standing outside the airport was not heard. Then I saw a slender figure, who was eye-catching as he walked out of the airport. Leaving aside the rest for now, Grass-Xiao Hutong felt as if he had been handsome by the other party, which made him feel envious and ashamed. In the crowd, there was a handsome young man wearing a black long coat and matching trousers, a white shirt and casual leather shoes, and a flowing black short hair. With an extraordinary image and temperament, he appeared as if he were not a member of the pool. Chinese people. Is this appearance, this temperament, an idol star or something like that? Chapter 10. The Encounter of Fate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chow Xiao Hutong is a bit surprised. Or rather, being amazed by the other person, he didn't expect to see the faces of Easterners in this unfamiliar place. Moreover, he is an exceptionally handsome young master with a refined temperament. A handsome face, phoenix eyes exude power. Even if you look beautiful yourself, your temperament is free and unrestrained, and it carries a hint of mystery and detachment. It is definitely a type that can be mistaken for life at first sight. Even as a boy, he was amazed by the other person's handsomeness, not to mention the women around him. If he were also a woman, he might also be fascinated by her, right, glance. Originally, when encountering this situation. In general, Chow Xiao Hutong would act as a passerby with great interest, or stand on the side as a melon-eating crowd. After all, his family knows about his own affairs. Although his appearance and height in neon are decent, he is just a common face when compared to the other party. Besides, he is just an ordinary student in neon. So when encountering such a situation, Grass-Shaving Guard naturally gave way with luggage and stood in the corner to avoid crowds. However, what he didn't expect was that while he was watching the bustling passers-by, the handsome and elegant young master glanced at him as he walked towards a luxury car. At this glance, Grass-Xiao Hutong was immediately awakened, and his body was even colder. Invisibly, it feels like carrying a big mountain. What? Just the next second, just as he felt inexplicable, the other person withdrew their gaze and sat in the car to leave. Is it some big shot? It's just a glance, why is it putting so much pressure on me? After Prince Pianpian left, the crowd that had originally surrounded and watched naturally dispersed, leaving only the grass-shaving hull standing by the roadside puzzled. He didn't know what was going on, just for a moment it was like falling into an ice cellar. If it weren't for the other party just glancing at him, to be honest, if they had been watching him for a longer time, Grass Xiao Hu Tang would have felt like he had to collapse and kneel down. It's not that he is cowardly, but that the other party's sense of oppression is too strong, feeling like people from two different worlds. Fortunately, the person has already left, and I'm afraid there won't be any interaction between myself and the other party, right? Backed against the wall, after calming down his breathing and mindset, the inconspicuous man quickly integrated into the crowd with his luggage and left. Sometimes I appreciate the local customs and traditions, sometimes I take out the map and ask people who have passed by for directions, and I don't know how long I have been walking. In Neon, tourists in Europe and the United States will not be afraid to ask the way of Neon people. He learned this way, but he tried to pick people who seemed to be too idle to ask questions, so that the chances of hindering others would be less. Although the local language is not English, relying solely on maps and gestures to communicate can roughly understand the other person's meaning. And I wanted to go to the grass shaving hall to see the sea first, so I walked towards the port of colliery. On the narrow streets and alleys, there are clothes that have been washed hanging everywhere. Seeing this peaceful scene, Grass Shafa's mood also relaxed, and then he arrived at the huge church, which was the square where the Tama church was located. After wandering and wandering here for a while, I left this beautiful square. From here, you can easily see the port of colliery and the beautiful emerald-like sea at a glance. Such a beautiful sea, he couldn't see it in Tokyo, and Kusa Hudo's heart naturally became excited, and his footsteps gradually accelerated. Descending from a street, I quickly ran towards the sea. While taking a walk by the seaside, I met a familiar. No, it should be considered an unfamiliar figure. On the wall of a warehouse-like building, a handsome and elegant young master stood there, blowing the sea breeze and looking out into the distance, giving him a very wonderful and stunning feeling. How to describe it as picturesque? Is it him? Chao Xiao Hutang didn't expect that. He thought there would be no intersection from now on, but after wandering around the town for a while, he unexpectedly met again. Empty you chicken. What? Mud, mud. Dot. Hello. Dot. Nod your head. After switching languages 3 times in a row, the other party finally understood. However, the elegant young master who looked out at the sea only nodded slightly at him, and then continued to appreciate the vast ocean landscape. Is the other party also coming to see the sea? Due to language barriers, Grass Xiao Hutang only said hello and didn't say much. He also found a spot to watch the sea, and couldn't help but have wild thoughts in his heart. It seems that the other party is not flawless either, and just like him, they are not good at foreign languages. Thinking of this, Chao Xiao Hutang suddenly felt much more balanced in her heart. Meeting by chance, although he is also good at communication and talkative, he can't help it even when he doesn't speak the language, so he can only look at each other. Moreover, Prince Pianpian ignored him, so Grass Shaving Protector didn't use any hot face stickers. After all, he was just a stranger he had met twice. Until a moment later, the sky gradually became somewhat dim. As the sun set, the two of them coincidentally left the seaside and returned to the small town. However, as they returned one by one, neither of them seemed to notice the presence of a shadow ahead of the road. Or rather, I noticed it, but didn't pay much attention until, sorry, the person walking there suddenly disturbed me. I have something to ask for advice. Idali, the person who came here was using Italian, and Grass-Shaved Hutang naturally looked confused and couldn't understand anything. However, although he couldn't fully understand, he was attracted by the girl who appeared at the moment.